Hello, my name is Mark Ferry. I'm an attorney at law. Are you here to take a closer look at my everyday duties? Well, you should have seen my last case. Remember this poor woman found dead in her bathtub? That was intense. I'm sorry, that wasn't very sensitive of me. Still, the case was huge, and got on the media too. Heard about that? Yes? No? My point is, we're in the middle of a slow season. At least I am. Like there aren't any crimes during summer. What nonsense. But first, I'd like to introduce our extremely reliable, irreplaceable secretary, Miss Podnick. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Ferry. There was a phone call from the court. They wanted to talk with you.
A phone call from the court? Did they state their business?
Yes, they requested you take a case as a public defender.
A public defender? What did you tell them?
I was confused a bit and told them that you are a private attorney, but they claimed that you're on the list.
Well, I guess I am.
I'm sorry, I don't follow.
Well, it was a long time ago. I tried public defense after completing my degree. Wanted to do something for the community, for people economically underprivileged.
But you haven't taken any case as a public defender since I started working here, have you?
That's true. I took some of these cases at the beginning of my career, and at some point I ended up here in my dad's office. So when they were calling me from the court, I turned them down once, then for the second time.
I understand.
I thought I'd sent my resignation. Well, it seems I'm still on it.
I told the court that you'd give the answer as soon as possible. Shall I make a call and tell them about your refusal?
No, tell them I accept.
I'm sorry?
I'm serious. I thought I'd have a lot of work after the red bathtub case, but I was wrong. I need to occupy myself with another case.
I understand, but maybe you'd like me to at least check what this case is about?
Please do. I can take any case now.
Of course. I'll let the court know about your decision and ask for more details then.
Excellent. I'll be around.
Hello, this is the Ferry and Sonneberg office. I'm calling back on behalf of Mr. Mark Ferry. Yes, he agreed to represent the client. Yes, I'll wait. Yes, I'm here. Do you have our fax number? Mm-hmm. Of course. Thank you. Have a nice day. Goodbye. Mr. Ferry, could you come here, please? I talked with the court. Here are the documents. Please check the nature of the case. One of the pages is the letter of acceptance. You need to sign it, and then I'll fax it back. Or you can send it from your office if you prefer.
No need to wait. Thank you, Mrs. Potnick. I'll pick it up on my way out. Okay, what do we have here? Raylan Jackson. Ruthless and ambitious. Won't be easy with this guy. I should call the DA's office to schedule the meeting.
District Attorney's Office.
Hello, this is Mark Ferry. I'm calling from the Ferry and Sonnenberg office. I'd like to make an appointment with Mr. Raylan Jackson.
The purpose of your visit, sir?
I want to speak with Mr. Jackson about the case DS 35789 and to receive an access to gathered evidence and other case-related information. I'm representing the defendant. I'm here.
Thank you for your patience. The prosecutor will meet you today. He's available from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Please come anytime. Oh, and please take any document which confirms your identity, of course.
Thank you very much. I'll be there. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Mr. Owen Williams, 25 years old, African American, married. He's still in the detention center because he didn't bail himself out. Wow. Drug distribution, participation in an organized criminal group? What have I gotten myself into? The previous public attorney has passed away, so the court urgently needed another lawyer. They found me.
District Detention Center.
Hello, this is Mark Ferry. I'm the public defender for Mr. Owen Williams. He's kept in custody awaiting the trial. I'd like to visit him.
Mr. Williams? Yes, we have him in the register. And are you his attorney?
Yes, public defender.
I have a different name here. Mr. Percy Morgan. But that's not you, right?
Yes, that was the previous attorney, but he passed away. Maybe the court hasn't passed you the information yet.
When did you get the nomination?
Maybe a half hour ago?
Hold on. Maybe we got a fax from the court, but we haven't updated our registers yet. Hello?
Yes?
There is a fax from the court. It seems your information is correct. We'll make the necessary changes in the documentation.
So, when can I meet my client?
Today, we're accepting guests between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m.
I'll be there. Thanks. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Miss Potnick, I'm leaving. I need my letter of acceptance back.
Of course. Good luck with your case, Mr. Ferry.
Thanks. I'll see you later. Hectic as usual, no matter if it's summer holiday or any other season.
Excuse me, sir. I have to see your pass, please. I can't let you through before I see the pass, sir. Thank you.
Come in.
Good day, Mr. Jackson.
Ah, Mr. Ferry. Welcome. I was a bit surprised that you still take cases as a public defense attorney.
I needed a change.
Really? So now you decided to help a drug dealer and a gangster? I guess you know how it'll probably end, aren't you? And for what? The difference between a public defender's and a private attorney's salaries is beyond comparison. So my question is, why bother?
Boredom. I have a lot of free time and I needed to keep myself in shape.
Wow, that's it? Boredom. I'm surprised. Well then, this case will give you more headache than excitement. Have you talked to your client yet?
No, not yet. I'm gonna go visit him after our meeting and checking the evidence.
I'm flattered. You did well visiting me in the first place. There's one thing I'd like to discuss with you, but before that, let's go to the evidence room.
I have some questions first.
I have something to talk over with you, too. But maybe we examine the evidence first?
All right, let's go then. The evidence room's around here. It's the one with the windowed wall.
This is it. Drugs, pictures taken at the spot, statements, and the police report. The last one won't be introduced in the court.
Because of hearsay? So the man who arrested my client will testify in the court?
That's correct.
There isn't really a lot of it.
Indeed. Your client was caught during a police operation to take down one of the gangs operating in the area. Do you want me to briefly explain the situation?
Yes, please. I want to know both perspectives.
Right. Mr. Williams is in his mid-20s. He has a wife and a small kid. He works as an independent taxi driver and a courier.
Independent. Is he self-employed?
Yes, a friendly guy from the neighborhood who can drive you anywhere you want or deliver things directly and faster than UPD, Delex, or other postal services.
So, how did he get himself into, as you claim, criminal activities presented in charges?
2 months ago, Owen was hired by Robin Smith, also known as RS, one of the leaders of the Southside Snakes, a drug-dealing gang working in the area. The defendant was asked to deliver a certain package, and he agreed to it. They met in the tenement house where Robin resided. The whole block had already been under surveillance back then, and the police waited for any good occasion to enter. When your client left the area with the package, the assault group entered the building and secured a significant quantity of drugs. Meanwhile, Mr. Williams was followed by Detective Roberts. He wanted to find out who was going to be the recipient of the package. Unfortunately, Mr. Williams was stopped on his way by a police patrol, presumably for running a red light. Fearing that the intervention would scare Williams away, Roberts decided to cancel the action and arrest the defendant on the spot. Of course, a package filled with narcotics was found in the passenger seat.
Did he resist?
As far as I know, he didn't. And of course he played dumb, that he didn't know what was in the package, nor he knew he was doing errands for a gang.
Maybe he really didn't know.
Oh, please. He's either really stupid or a good actor. Do you think the jury will buy this story? I really doubt that.
We'll see. Can I work with the evidence now?
Feel free. I'll be in my office. Stop by when you finish. You might have some more questions.
So that was the statement presented by my client in the presence of the previous attorney. This is the key evidence. This package with a significant amount of cocaine could send my client behind bars for quite a long time. Somebody's opened the package. Was it Mr. Williams? It would be bad news. Maybe it was the police. Or maybe it was damage from the beginning. I should find the answers in the police report. That's one piece of evidence. Seems the packaged cocaine was transported in this bag. Can I learn something more about it? Well, that's the police report written by the officer who detained Williams. Let's take a look. The officer admitted that Owen Williams didn't resist during the search of the car, but started to get nervous when drugs were discovered.
Mark Ferry, did you learn everything you needed from the evidence?
Seems so, but I still have some questions before I go to my client and listen to his version of events.
Of course you do. Before you ask your questions and go, there's one more thing we need to discuss.
And?
Look, we are rivals at the court, but the courtroom is not a place for a cockfight. I'm there to fight for justice, and I don't want to play tug of war. You know what I mean?
You're offering a plea bargain.
That's correct.
I'm a little surprised, that early.
It's not early at all. You're not his first attorney. The death of Mr. Morrigan slowed the whole procedure. I'm just accelerating things.
All right then, you have my attention.
Owen Williams made a foolish mistake. There's no doubt about it.
We all make errors.
And because of that foolishness, I don't think he's part of the gang. He's a small fry. A trial is a waste of time, and I'd rather avoid spending our resources in this case. We have bigger fish, one of the leaders, and a few real-time gangsters. I want to focus on them.
So, drop the charges then. Why bother?
It's not that simple. Drug possession is a serious felony. We're at war against narcotics as a society. Remember?
But he didn't even know what he was transporting.
You can't prove it. Do you think the jury is going to believe in that?
It depends. Maybe this gangster could testify that Williams didn't know about the contents of the bag.
Please, be sensible. You have no idea what this guy's capable of. Maybe he'd help you, or maybe he'd choose to incriminate him too. There's no need. We can end this without going to the court.
So what are you proposing?
We'll drop the charges of being part of a criminal organization and drug distribution. As for drug possession, he'll get 1 year in prison, including time he's already served in the detention center, or pay a $3,000 fine. That's all I can guarantee without chopping my head off.
Thank you. Your offer looks really generous. I'll pass it to my client.
Of course. You said you have some additional questions, right?
Williams had another lawyer. What happened to him?
He passed away.
What happened?
Cancer. Why?
I was just curious about who was representing Mr. Williams.
Well, Mr. Morgan was a very good public defender. He can negotiate very good terms with the prosecution, but his performance at the court was also exceptional. Unfortunately, before I offered him a plea bargain, he'd already been taken to the hospital. Then he passed away, and the court had to find a new defender. You.
Thanks. I didn't know that. Can you tell me more about this gang which the police took down?
The South Side Snakes. Mostly street thugs pushing drugs and extorting small local businesses. Leeches.
If they're small fish, then how did they get so much cocaine?
Obviously, we have a much bigger player who's a supplier and has access to drug production means. Taking this gang down was the first step in our ongoing investigation. We hope the leaders will spill the beans.
Anything else?
Your client had contact with one of the leaders, Robin Smith, and his henchmen. They're the guys who gave your bird cocaine to deliver to another key person, Jack Taylor. But Owen Williams never got to his place because he'd been arrested by Officer Andrew Roberts.
Those guys seem to be my key witnesses.
Maybe, but all of them were killed during the police action.
What? All of them are dead?
We wanted to capture them alive, but they refused to lay down their weapons. Only Jack Taylor survived, and right now, he's our key witness in the case, who can lead us to their employers.
So, maybe this guy knows about Williams.
Do you even listen to me? He's our key witness in a much bigger case, Ferry. Don't drag him to the court. You'll endanger both him and the investigation.
I can do you a favor and leave him out of court, but I need his testimony, even if it's written. Let me talk with him. Of course you'll be there the whole time like a normal examination.
All right. We can arrange that. Thank you, Ferry. Is it that all?
Can you tell me more about the circumstances of the arrest?
Everything is in the report. Have you read it?
That's not really helpful.
Because I don't really have anything more to add. The guy had a tail since he'd left Smith's house with the package. Then the police stopped Williams for some petty reason, and Detective Roberts intervened. Jackson didn't resist, but he became anxious when they discovered the cocaine. No surprise. I would be too.
Anxious? Maybe surprised?
It doesn't matter really.
It could matter if he really didn't know about the drugs.
He could fake his reaction. Let's leave that subject. It doesn't lead us anywhere. Do you have any more questions or topics to discuss?
Good day.
Good day, sir. Can I help you?
Yes, I'd like to visit my client.
First and last name of the defendant?
Owen Williams.
May I see your ID? Mr. Ferry, please wait. Ah, yes. We got the notification from the court about the changes in Mr. Williams' legal representation. We've already made necessary changes in the register, and you'll be able to meet your client shortly.
Perfect. Thank you.
Please wait, sir, until we summon you.
Right. Thank you.
Mr. Ferry,
That's me.
please follow me.
That man over there must be Owen Williams.
Take your time, sir.
Good day, Mr. Williams. I'm Mark Ferry from Ferry and Sonnenberg. How do you do?
Hi. Well, I'm all right, I guess. Who are you?
I'm your new lawyer, Mr. Williams. Didn't you get the notice?
No, I didn't. Where's Mr. Morgan? I haven't heard from him for quite a while.
All I know is he passed away. I don't know the details, but I can ask somebody if you want.
There's no need. So are we starting over then? I've already been here for 2 months.
You don't have to worry about the procedures. There'll be no further delays. You have my word on that. I have access to all the evidence, and I'm in contact with the prosecution.
All right. I guess I'm going to trust you, Mr. Ferry.
Thank you.
So, what do you need from me?
Let's talk about the parcel, which is the reason you're here.
What do you want to know?
Did you know the bag contained drugs?
God, no, I didn't.
Was the bag your possession itself?
No, it belonged to this Robin guy. He already gave it to me with the contents inside.
And you didn't want to take a peek inside?
Why would I? I deliver many packages to my clients. It isn't really professional to spy on them. All I need to know about the transport is presented by my client. Whether the parcel is fragile and needs extra caution and so on, does it need a bigger trunk and so on.
Based on your meeting with Robin and his associates, weren't you suspicious about the package?
Normally, I would be, but I drove many people in their goods, which could be suspicious at the first glimpse, but eventually, they were innocent.
All right, so to sum up, you had no idea about the contents of the bag. Nobody told you, nor did you open it and look inside.
Well, I actually opened it.
How come?
The detective forced me to open it when they stopped me. He pointed a gun at me and yelled something like, "Open the bag, but slowly."
Noted.
So, what do you need from me?
Let's talk about your previous attorney. What did he suggest? What kind of strategy did you undertake?
Well, he told me it would be rather difficult to prove I had a serious connection with the gang unless they found key evidence. However, I could have a hard time proving I didn't know I was carrying the drugs. Do you agree with him?
Mr. Morgan was right. The jury and the judge usually don't buy the "I didn't know" argument. I don't say it's impossible, but there has to be more than your word to prove you clearly couldn't possibly know about the contents of the parcel. And let's be honest, we might be living in a free country, but it's still defiled with systematic racism. Many individuals tend to believe that black people are indeed involved in drug-related crimes quite frequently. The incarceration rate of them is 7 times higher than the incarceration rate for the whites.
I understand. That's why Mr. Morgan suggested we should try to reach a plea bargain.
It's very wise. If the prosecution dropped the most serious charges, you could get out of prison relatively soon. Or maybe not go at all, but pay a larger fine. To be honest, Williams, I've already talked with the prosecutor. He asked me to present a proposition to you.
Oh, really? So what's in his mind?
The prosecution promised to drop the charges of being a part of a criminal organization and even drug distribution. But they can't turn a blind eye on possession, though. You would serve a sentence for 1 year, including time already served. That would be around 9 months, if I'm correct. Or you can pay a $3,000 fine.
Wow, I must admit, I didn't expect that. First, I've heard something about dozens of years, or even 25. That's a huge leap. Thank you, Mr. Ferry. Unfortunately, I don't have that kind of money, but I think my doors could wait another 9 months more. Still, I'm angry that I'm going to serve a sentence anyway, regardless of the fact I'm totally innocent.
We can do better than that. The prosecution wants to close the case as soon as possible, and they don't want to spend more resources. I'm not saying it will be easy, but if the jury finds you not guilty, you'll not only come back home immediately, but also receive compensation for the time served here, which is worth all of the bail money.
I don't know, sir. I don't want to be greedy, and the risk is quite high.
This is your decision, Mr. Williams. I'm just giving you the options.
All right, Mr. Ferry. I trust you. Please pass the information to the prosecution that I refuse. I'll sign the proper papers too.
Thank you. I will.
So, what do you need from me?
Mr. Williams, I'd like you to tell me more about yourself.
All right. What would you like to know?
What's your occupation?
I'm a freelance taxi driver mostly. Sometimes I do some errands. I deliver parcels as a courier.
An independent taxi driver courier? Is it difficult to compete with the organized taxi corporations?
It isn't, because in fact, I often work for them as a contractor. I have my own car, so I don't have to rely on the company's vehicles. I also have my own regular clients.
I see. And who are they? Were they those people whom you worked for the last time?
God, no. I didn't have a clue they were gangsters. I have my ad in the phone book, so I pick up some calls for different requests. Sometimes people in the neighborhood hire me beforehand for an exact date because they have some things to settle and need a driver. But of course, for most of the time, I'm in the street and pick up strangers.
Have you got a list of your regular clients?
Sure, my wife can provide you with that. Mostly, they are normal people from the neighborhood.
Your wife, you say. Can you tell me about your family life a bit?
Yeah, I'm married to Susan. We have a small kid, Greg. I love that little rascal so much. We live in the South Side, so the neighborhood isn't the most representative, but there are many good and honest people living there. My parents are still alive. They run a grocery store, and my wife's a nurse at the hospital.
What about your parents-in-law?
What about them?
Are you on good terms with them?
Well, I guess so, but Mr. Richard is quite strict because he served in the army. Miss Rose, on the other hand, is very kind. We don't argue much.
Thank you, Mr. Williams.
So, what do you need from me?
I got back from the DA's office. The prosecutor.
All right, I'm listening.
The prosecution promised to drop the charges of being a part of a criminal organization. We can do better. This is your decision, Mr. Williams. Thank you.
So, what do you need from me?
That'll be all for now. Thank you, Mr. Williams, for your time.
Of course. Thank you, Mr. Ferry, for
All rise. Department 2 of the Superior Court is now in session. Judge Theodore Robinson presiding. Please be seated.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The court is now in session. Calling the case of the people of the state versus Mr. Owen Williams. Are both sides ready?
Ready for the people, Your Honor.
Ready for the defense, Your Honor.
Will the bailiff please swear in the jury?
Will the jury please stand and raise your right hand? Do each of you swear that you will fairly try the evidence before this court, and that you will return a true verdict according to the evidence and the instructions of the court? So help you God? Please say, I do.
I do.
You may be seated.
We will now hear the opening statement from the prosecution.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you're here to decide the fate of the defendant who has been charged with the crime of possessing over 2 pounds of cocaine for dealing and distribution purposes, as well as taking part in organized crime. The defendant has been caught red-handed by the police during a secret operation to crack down the gang. He met the gang members and picked up the bag with drugs and tried to deliver it to another criminal, Mr. Jack Taylor, one of the leaders of the gang. The defendant then was stopped by the police patrol for running the lights, but he was also followed by Detective Andrew Roberts for the whole time. He's the one who decided to enter the scene and arrest the suspect. The police indeed found a bag containing the drugs, which was the direct purpose of arresting on the spot. The evidence and testimonies I present will prove to you that the defendant is guilty as charged.
Thank you, counsel. Let's hear the defense's opening statement.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor and ladies and gentlemen of the jury, under the law, my client is presumed innocent until proven guilty. You've already heard serious accusations against my client, Mr. Owen Williams. You can understand that Mr. Williams is a crook working for a criminal organization. The fact is, he's a humble taxi driver and a courier. That day, he was just doing his regular job and got a call from one of his many clients to deliver a package. Unfortunately, it turned out that his employer was a member of a gang. And what's more, the police planned that day to end the criminal activity of that group. Mr. Williams was extremely unlucky. He didn't know who he was working for, nor did he know the contents of the package. During this trial, you'll hear no real evidence against my client to prove charges of that caliber. My client is not guilty, and I'll prove it.
Prosecution may call its first witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. The prosecution calls Detective Andrew Roberts from TCPD, Gang and Narcotics Division.
Name and surname?
Andrew Roberts.
Please raise your hand and repeat after me. I, Andrew Roberts.
I, Andrew Roberts, do solemnly, sincerely, and truly declare and affirm that the evidence I shall give to the court in this case shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. I've been here many times. I remember the oath by heart.
Detective Andrew Roberts, I remind you that you are at the court and there are procedures here. Please treat the officials with respect and speak when you are asked to. Is that clear?
Yes, Your Honor. I'm sorry.
I guess Mr. Detective is a hothead, or maybe he's flexible when it comes to formalities. Wonder if I can use that.
Mr. Roberts, please state your profession.
I'm a detective in TCPD, Gangs and Narcotics Division.
How are you related to the case?
I was the one who arrested Mr. Williams.
Why did you arrest the defendant?
He was transporting a bag of cocaine.
How much?
Around 2 pounds.
What's the street value of that amount?
Over $185,000.
Could the defendant operate that much drugs on his own or on behalf of a criminal organization?
All right, time to step in and spoil the party. Objection, Your Honor. The question not only calls for speculation, but is also leading.
Sustained. Please stick with the rules of evidence, counsel.
How did you know he was transporting the drugs?
To be honest, I wasn't sure.
Please explain.
Mr. Williams happened to appear in the area under surveillance. You see, we were in the middle of an operation to crack down a drug gang called Southside Snakes. We were observing 2 houses belonging to the 2 key figures, Robin Smith and Jack Taylor. The 2 houses are located in 2 different parts of the city, so there were 2 surveilling teams observing suspects at the same time.
And the defendant?
He approached Robin Smith's house, located in Southside. It was morning. Mr. Williams came there by car. He entered the building and left it after a few minutes. He was holding a bag. He got into a car and drove away.
Who did he talk inside the house to?
I don't know, but we knew there were at least 3 people there, all related to the gang, including Robin Smith himself.
What happened next?
I was asked by Commanding Officer, Commissioner Francis Wright, to follow the man because he was probably going to another suspect, Mr. Taylor. In the meantime, the first squad in Southside decided to enter to neutralize suspects.
You arrested the defendant before he reached the destination. Why?
Objection, Your Honor. This goes nowhere.
Overruled.
He ran the traffic lights, and the local patrol stopped him. I was worried that they would scare him away, so I decided to step in.
A patrol? How big was it?
2 police officers.
Did you arrest the defendant on the spot?
No, I asked him to open the bag first, the one he took from Smith's.
What was the defendant's behavior?
Objection, Your Honor. This goes nowhere.
Overruled.
Oh, he was agitated, like he knew what was coming up.
That's a fucking lie.
I got this. Objection, Your Honor. The witness is speculating.
Sustained. The court will remove the part which suggests the reason why the defendant was acting as described. Please continue, counsel.
That's a big lie. I wasn't agitated. I remained calm until I saw the cocaine inside the bag.
We'll get there.
Detective Roberts, where was the bag?
In the front passenger seat, but one of the officers claimed the defendant wanted to hide it behind it.
Objection! Hearsay!
What hearsay? It's in the officer's written testimony.
Mr. Roberts, you can only speak for yourself. The objection is sustained. Please continue, Mr. Jackson.
What was inside the bag?
Cocaine.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have no further questions. I would like to submit pieces of evidence from number 1 to number 5, the duffel bag, bag of cocaine, the pictures taken on the spot after arresting the defendant, and the complete list of other police officers' statements from the patrol which were witnesses of the arrest. The list covers statements of 2 police officers who were at the time of arrest and 4 other detectives who claim they saw the defendants entering Robin Smith's house and then leaving with the presented evidence.
Thank you, counsel. Would the defense object to any pieces of evidence?
No, Your Honor.
Does the defense wish to ask any questions to the witness?
No, Your Honor.